So the first simple way to save money in 2025 is to automate savings. Automatically move a portion of your income to a savings account. I still do this till this day, even though I don't make a significant amount of money, but I always try my best to, like, when I get my paycheck, I'm like, all right, let me put, even if it's $5 to $10, let me take this money out and put it towards my savings accounts. I have like 3 or 4 savings accounts. So I highly suggest you guys to get into the habit of putting, like, when you get your check, obviously pay your bills. After paying your bills, whatever you have left over, spread it out into your savings accounts, or if you don't have accounts, just put a percentage to your savings. And I also want to suggest you guys to get a high yield savings account. Basically, you're sleeping on free money. I'm not the whole like financial girly, and there's a lot of things that I don't quite know yet, but what I do know is, or what I've experienced, is that having a high yield savings account is free money. Basically, obviously you have to put money into that savings account in order for it to generate a percentage each month, but ever since I switched over to the high yield savings account that I have, it is just phenomenal. Like there was times when I did have a decent amount of money in savings, not anymore because bills have gone out of control. For an example, in 2020 when I signed up for my account, there was a time where I was making like $40 to $50, sometimes $70 a month with my money just sitting there. Try to get into the habit, well, first sign up for high yield savings, and then secondly, try to get into the habit of taking a percentage of your check and putting it in an emergency fund, a car fund, whatever savings account that you have, labeled. You can label these accounts however you would like. So it does depend on how much you bring in. After paying bills, how much do you have left over? So whatever you have left over, even if it's like $200, $100, just put like $10 here, or $20. I guarantee you guys, it gets a little bit addicting when you see your savings start growing. It becomes like a little game. At least that's how it felt for me back in the day. When I did have a decent income, it was like, all right, let me pour some more money in there. All right, I picked up a couple shifts, so I'm gonna get paid extra. That extra money from those extra shifts are going straight to my savings account. Yeah, I feel like that helps out a lot regarding like saving money for the new year. Cut unnecessary subscriptions, regularly check these. I have seen so many people, like even my family members, they don't know what they're paying for when it comes to subscriptions. You'll never know like how much they're overcharging you. Like you want to make sure that you are paying attention to your bills. There have been so many times these past couple of years or even these past couple months where my partner has to call either Netflix, Spotify, our internet bill, phone bill. Like he would have to call and be like, hey, you guys overcharged me $30 or X amount. Why? Can you break this down? 99% of the time it was a mistake. So it was like a billing error. So if we didn't call or kept an eye on our subscriptions, we would never know on like how much are they overcharging us, because these companies, they don't really care. They're not going to be like, hey, we overcharged you, we're so sorry. Like they're not going to call. They're just going to keep overcharging you because you're technically already paying the overcharge fee without complaining. For an example, my subscriptions are very, very low. Like I try my best not to sign up for things unless I truly like that particular subscription. So the first subscription that I have is Spotify. I've been having Spotify since 2017, 2016. And luckily I am grandfathered in. So even though the price went up on Spotify, I think it's like $11 or $12 a month, I still get Hulu for free. Because when I signed up, they had like this whole deal. I still have Hulu for free, so I don't pay for Hulu, which is great. For the past 8 years, I haven't paid for Hulu. I always thought to myself, like, if they take Hulu away, will I cancel Spotify? Probably not, because I listen to music quite often. So I already broke this down in my head. Like that app is very valuable to me, and I think it's worth the $12 a month, even without the free Hulu. So I have that subscription. I'm always checking to see if they overcharge or not. I check every month when the bill comes in to see if they charge me the right amount. And then the last subscription that I have is Hallmark. Now, I love Hallmark. It has changed my life regarding like the amount of more positive content that I've been watching. I haven't watched a horror movie in over a year, or any type of negative content. I usually just stick with Hallmark, and I love it. I'm glad that Hallmark was honest, and they did send out an email, I want to say like last August. They were like, we're sorry for this, but we are going up in our subscription price. The new price will be, you know, it went from $54 to $75, which is a big leap. And I even told myself, I'm like, do I keep Hallmark or do I cancel this subscription because they went up like over $20? Is this worth it to me? And I went back and forth, and I came to the conclusion, like, you know what? It is worth it because this is all that I watch. Like, this is my fun time, especially the Hallmark mysteries and Christmas movies. I've been really enjoying it. Those are the only 2 subscriptions I pay for, even though Hallmark is very, very expensive, like $75 for the entire year. I do find it pricey. I do use it quite often. Same thing with Spotify. Spotify I tend to use every day. What I'm trying to tell you guys is to go through your subscriptions or your bills, see where you're overpaying, and cut out unnecessary bills and subscriptions. Technically, subscriptions is bills. So make sure that you are using what you are paying for and your money is just, you know, not going out the window. Create easy meals. Now, when you look up like meal planning on YouTube or on Pinterest, it can get a little bit elaborate. Like, people get very creative with these meal plans, and it makes us regular people not want to do this crap. It's like, oh, this is just too much work, I'm not doing it. Until I figured out the secret sauce, and that is to work with what works best for you. I know that sounds so redundant, but for us, we try our best to focus on protein as much as we can now. I have figured out throughout the years that protein is what keeps us full. Protein and a ton of greens. We have these like little glass containers. On Sunday, I will meal prep, whether it's for lunch or dinner. Usually I meal prep for lunch because we're busy throughout the day. And then dinner time is when I take my time to cook and sit down, you know, with my partner. But on Sundays, I usually meal plan or prep our lunch for the week. Whether it's salads I decide to do that week or mixing it up. I'll do salads for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday for lunch. I will do maybe a little bit of plantains, tofu, broccoli, some onions on top, maybe some roasted almonds. Like, those meals are easy for me to make because I make them all the time. That's my little suggestion for you guys, and tip is don't focus on like, oh, it has to be super, super healthy. It has to be like what I'm seeing on Pinterest. Don't focus on that. When it comes to meal planning, and in order to save money with meal planning, because you're gonna end up eating these meals, instead of you opening your fridge and being like, oh, I made salad all week, but I don't want salad. I really want like mac and cheese. I'm just gonna order it. Instead of doing that and wasting food and wasting money, focus on your meal plan around the meals that you truly love to eat and make. And that has what helped us out so much with meal planning. I used to overthink it all the time. I used to try to count calories. It didn't work out for me. And I found that with me doing my meal planning around the things that I like to make that are easy to make, I just find it a lot healthier for me because it is portioned out at the end of the day. It is like a glass container like this, so I'm not going back for seconds or anything. So technically I'm not overdoing it, and I didn't waste that much time in the kitchen. But it also saves us time too. So it saves me time, I should say. It saves me time from cooking and cleaning for lunchtime. So try your best to focus on meal planning throughout the week. That way you're not wasting food, wasting money, or wasting time. Create and stick to a budget. Now, I know this is really hard, especially these days. Our food budget is usually like up and down because the prices are up and down. And it's not just with groceries. Same thing when it comes to your overall bills. Set a budget from your check. Like I don't have my phone next to me, but on my phone in the notes app, I wanted to see how much I was spending on personal products yearly. And I'm talking shampoo, conditioner, razors, deodorant. Like these are all my personal products. Now, I don't wear makeup, I don't dye my hair. There's a couple things that I did cut out of my budget a long time ago for now. Maybe one day I will add that back into my budget. But for these days, I don't think it's necessary. I think I'm okay with not dyeing my hair or wearing makeup. So I just calculated my necessities, my personal hygiene necessities, and I wanted to see how much I was spending yearly. That kind of put a bug in my head, and it made me think like, all right, I spend X amount yearly on personal items, and then when it comes to our main bills, we spend this amount. So I just calculated everything, and it was fairly easy than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit more confusing and overwhelming, but it helped me see the bigger picture of my budget and see where we should set a budget. So for personal products, I technically don't have to set a budget because I'm under budget because I'm not buying as much as I used to back in the day. Food, we definitely need to set a better budget. So when we moved here in 2021, we went a little ballistic with the food budget. We threw out our budget and was like, let's just grab whatever. And that kind of ruined our whole food budget. I know it sounds so redundant, but we didn't even have a budget. What we were spending was like $800 to $900 a month on food, which is crazy. We did, throughout the years, we did cut out a lot of things that were expensive. So we don't eat frozen meals like we used to. We don't buy all of the plant-based junk foods anymore. We don't buy like the vegan burgers or anything like that. So I just found ways that started to decrease our food bill. So we went from spending like $900 a month to now we're spending like $500 to $600. Again, it can vary if we add a lot more fruit to our budget, which that's something I gotta work on. I gotta work on sticking with just, I can't have a whole fruit bowl every day as much as I love it. It's expensive. Like, we are not in those times where it's like, buy whatever you want. I need to figure out what fruits that I truly, truly enjoy, which I think I've narrowed it down. I love grapes and I love apples. As much as I love mangoes, they're just too damn pricey. The grapes alone can be extremely pricey. So the sacrifice that I can make is get rid of the mangoes, wait until they're in season, and stick with the two fruits that I truly love, which is apples and grapes. And that's another tip too with the food budget, was I started buying things that are in season. So the minute, like, say fall starts, I know that squash, pumpkin, all of those things are in season. So those are the things that I'm going to purchase because they're going to be on sale. So I got a lot smarter over the years with our money, all due to me setting a budget, adding everything up. I don't add things up monthly. I like to add things up yearly, especially when it comes to like personal products. It gives you more of an alarming amount of how much you are spending yearly on your things. And when it came to makeup and all that stuff that I used to spend money on, I remember back in the day, I was like, well, how much money am I spending? I was spending more than half of my, what I made in a year. I was spending half of that back in the day on just makeup and clothes, which is absurd. Like, no one needs that much makeup and clothes. I highly, highly suggest you guys to set a budget. Sit down with all of your bills. I know it's going to be daunting, but it's so worth it for you to sit down, see how much you are truly spending, cross out things that you don't need. If you don't use Netflix, cross it out, get on the phone, cancel it. If you don't use Spotify, cross it out, get on the phone, cancel it. And that way that money can go back to your savings. So I've noticed that the more I'm learning when it comes to budgeting, the more I'm growing financially. Even though I don't make a lot of money, it feels like I can work with, like, I've learned a skill. I've learned a skill to work with a very, very small amount of money and learn how to stretch it, all due to me setting budgets and just paying attention to my finances. And the last thing that I want to mention with this is to learn that what you have is more than enough, and sometimes it's all you need. We live in a world where we are never happy with what we have, and we're always looking for the next best thing, especially when it comes to products, when it comes to beauty. Us humans are always thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. I know I've been there and I still go through this. I'm not perfect, no one is, But I have learned throughout the years that what I have is what I need. And I'm a true believer too of everything happens for a reason. I've been through a lot in my life where, yes, sometimes I do wonder how my life would have turned out if I would have went this route instead of this route. But I think the things that I own, where I'm at in my life, what I know, I feel like this is exactly where I need to be. These are the exact things that I need to own in order for me to grow and, well, or continue growing. So I try my best not to look at it where it's like, oh, well, I need more things. My life would be better if I had a more fuel efficient car. My life would be better if we didn't live in this apartment. I try to like snap out of that negative rut and look at the things that it have as an opportunity. So yes, I'm not a fan of this, living in an apartment like this anymore, and I wish we could move, but it's safe for me. It's safe for, when people come over, we have a great time, even though it is small. I grew up in a lot of bad areas, so this is the safest area I've ever lived in my life. So again, I'm trying to not think of like what I don't have. I'm trying to think of what I do have. And it's been a constant battle with my, I grew up with 2 negative parents. So with me trying to switch the narrative, it's been a constant battle, but I'm definitely learning over time. The same thing goes for my car. Even though it's not the best on gas, it still gets me to my doctor's appointments. It still gets me to my job interviews that I've been doing. Even though it's not like the newest or the most like fanciest or fuel efficient car, it's still running great, knock on wood. It's still running great and I have no complaints with it. And I know one day I will be able to have a more fuel efficient car and have something a little bit more modern, but I'm just embracing that. I'm grateful that I have a car. There's some people that don't. Try your best to learn that, what you have is truly what you need. And I know this is not technically like a money saving tip, but I wanted to add it in here because a lot of us try to chase that narrative of like, my life would be better if I looked like this. My life would be better if I owned this particular car or this particular bed or table. And at the end of the day, life is not about buying every little thing you see online. Like, things are not going to make your life. It's more deep than that. And I think, what makes your life whole is realizing that what you have is truly all what you need at the moment.